Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne. Be sure to check out my new and improved website, rockisgeorge.com, where you can find all our social media and streaming platforms, as well as podcast episodes, knac.com exclusives, album and show reviews, and much, much more. My guest for episode 232 is guitarist Dan Lorenzo of Patriarchs in Black. Coincidentally, I interviewed Dan about a year ago about his Patriarchs in Black release entitled Visioning, and now they're back with a brand new album entitled Home, and here's Dan Lorenzo to tell you more about it. Today, we're talking about the new Patriarchs in Black album, Home, which comes out August 15th through Metalville Records. Although I feel like we were just talking about Visioning not too long ago. In fact, it was back in June of 2024. Since then, you released a covers album 6 months ago, a couple of non-album singles, and now you're back with the new studio album. This is kind of an unheard pace for a band.
I don't know what to say because I remember I grew up, when Kiss would release a record every 6 months. It was not a big deal. I mean, this is just what songwriters did, and now people are like freaked out. I wrote 17 songs since Visioning came out. I should say 18 songs, 17 of which Johnny and I recorded and mixed. And the record label said, Dan, the record was finished in February. They're like, we can't release a record in less than, we got to wait 12, 13 months. I'm like, oh. So I'm like, all right. And, I got a full-time job. I love hanging out with my wife. I play basketball, but for whatever reason, the last 8 years I've written over 100 new songs, and it just gets easier and easier. But now, because I realize Metalville Records and even the world does not want a new record from me every 6 months, I actually stopped playing guitar for a few months consciously so I wouldn't write any new songs. And I tried to write a new song the other day and I couldn't come up with anything. So for whatever reason, I was on the hottest streak of my life, but now everybody's like, slow down, slow down. So I'm slowing down.
You got it all out of your system over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, Patriarchs in Black has always featured guest musicians. I mean, it's mainly you and John Kelly of Typo Negative, and you bring in bass players and guest vocalists and whatnot. Who is appearing on this new Home album for the first time?
Only a couple people. Joe Ferrara, who's a singer I wasn't familiar with. There's a bass player in a band called Amish Outlaws that's been a fan of mine since he was a little kid and teenager. And he's been writing me for years. And now the Amish Outlaws, they make a really good living playing cover songs up and down the East Coast. And I had given 2 songs, The Call and this song, Storm Chaser? No, something. Storm something.
Storm King.
Storm King. All right. So yeah, the previous titles, I had written the song that Carl sings, which became The Call. I wrote the lyrics, the melody, and everything, but Carl wanted to write his own lyrics and melody. So I also gave him a song called White Dog, which was the temporary title that became Storm King. And last minute, we're going. I'm like, Carl, man, I need your stuff now. And Carl's like, okay, I finished The Call. And I loved what he did, but I didn't get around to this song. I'm like, shit, man. I'm like, I want to have this song on the record. So the singer from the Amish Outlaws told me about this guy who used to sing for them, and he's great. And I sent this song, Storm King, with no vocals, to Joe Ferrara on a Sunday night. I think it was either later that night or the next morning. I got the finished song, lyrics and melody, and his voice is just blazing. So he's a first timer. And then also my old compadre, Damon Schroeder, who was the original bass player with me in my old band, Nonfiction. Love the guy, great musician. For whatever reason, he's one of my favorite people that I really don't talk to that often. But he's on 3 songs on bass guitar on this album. And I believe those are the only brand new people.
I think I asked you the same question a year ago, but was there anybody that you wanted to get for this particular album that you couldn't get?
Well, Phil Anselmo, I can't get a hold of. Rex Brown, I texted and I asked him to play a song on the last album, and I said, how much would it cost? And he said, I would do it for free, but I can't do it contractually. So those are the only people that I can think of that I reached out to that didn't want to do it. I mean, believe it or not, there was a British writer who was loving us, and he told me he was going to hook me up with Paul Diano, and then Paul passed away. So I would have loved to have done a song with Paul Diano. I don't know if he'd ever, would have done it with us, but yeah, there's a handful of people that I would love to be involved that we haven't asked or have been too busy, but for the most part, everybody said yes.
This is a pretty diverse album, Home. I
Yeah.
mean, you have your standard doom that you guys kind of do, stoner rock, but you got like a great straight up blues track and Enough
Yep.
of You, and you even have some strings in Frisson, and you have a sort of a dark ballad with Celestial Yards. So,
Mm.
was that kind of the goal to break out of the box as you were continuing on?
Well, we actually had strings on the song Visioning, not on the song Visioning, I'm sorry, on the song Veneration, on my Veneration and Veneration. I heard strings in my head, and this album has a flute for the first time and a male opera singer for the first time. It's just, George, just things I hear in my head that sometimes I'll like write a melody, like the song Frisian. I heard bow down, down, bow down, down, I hear that in my head, and I go upstairs, I play it on guitar, and I'm like, this stinks. This is why would I even hum this in my head? And then I like it go through my head again, and I'm like, why is this going through my head? It's not that good. And I'm like, oh, it's a viola. It's not a guitar, and it sounds awesome on a viola. And then I wrote the lyrics and the melody to that. But there's just stuff that goes through my head and back, when I was in Hades or nonfiction, particularly in Hades. I guess, you don't have a budget. Not that we don't have any, we have a less of a budget now, but just we have the ability to, Patriarchs in Black, because it's different singer and a different bass player on every song. It's like, why not just experiment as far as we can? If I hear something in my head, like a male opera singer, like the world's not going to end if we try it, and 3% of the people don't like it. Like, it doesn't matter. So just if it's in my head, I want to try it.
Well, let's talk about the single you have out now from the album. It's The Call. You mentioned it a little bit earlier with Carl Agel, uh,
Mhm.
formerly of Corrosion of Conformity. Tell me a little bit about what inspired the lyrics of the song.
Well, it's funny. So I wrote the lyrics and the melody line, and I said, Carl, here it is. I got everything. And he's like, no, 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 I got my own thing. I'm like, dude. He's like, I don't even want to hear what you did. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever written, man. I really want him to sing my lyrics and melody. And months went by. I'm like, Carl, you sure I can't send you my lyrics and melody? And he's like, no, man, give me a little more time. So it was both of us ended up just writing about dying. A lot of the song, the album title, Home. Johnny Kelly's mom passed away during the recording of this record, and my younger cousin, passed away from ALS. And like the word home just kept coming up. Like when you go to a church service for a deceased person, they say, the Lord brought them home. Or I'm in my car, last night I'm in the city and I'm not sure how to get home. So I hit the home button and it says, taking you home. So this, the call is basically about dying. I believe Carl's more agnostic, where I'm actually Catholic. But just, and it's like, I don't know want to say we're consumed with death because I'm a happy person, but for whatever reason, lyrically, I've always written about sadness. Like there's a song called Beeline I wrote about, a married couple, they love each other, but they also hate each other and they just can't work it out. And it's very sad. It's very, they end up in divorce. It's very sad. But that's just what I lyrically, I don't know, I want to say if I'm drawn to it, but it's just what comes out of my head. And I think the same for Carl.
Beeline is a fantastic song, by the way.
Thank
Fantastic.
you. Thank you.
I noticed 4 appearances from Mark Sunshine, whom you spoke highly of in our last interview. It's your wife's favorite singer, if I believe correctly.
Correct.
And he also did the co-writes on this. So kind of tell
Yeah.
me about you and Mark working those 4 songs.
Yeah, so Mark is awesome. He's super talented. He's super creative. He's an artist, like a real artist, in every sense of the word. He should be a wealthy person, either painting or singing. He has as much talent as anybody I've ever met. And what I love working about with him is like, really, I guess all the guys on this record, like, I feel like in my old bands, the singers would be like, "Oh, let's work on this arrangement." Like, like just shut up, man. Like, this Sunshine, just I write the song, the arrangement's the way I think it should be, and then even if I sometimes think like, "Oh, maybe that arrangement, maybe I should have done this a little." He just sings exactly where I put it. So he's been great, and yes, he's still my wife's favorite singer. Hopefully that doesn't offend anybody else watching this, but and that's pretty crazy because I've worked with probably like 25 different singers in my life, but he's a amazing lyricist too. And the song Celestial Yard, you know, we have a performance video for that song as well. I feel like if people give this song a chance and watch the video and listen to it a couple times, it is like one of the most incredible lyrics and melodies I've ever heard in my life. Um, I wrote just the guitar part and it was good. It was fine. But Mark took it to like, this is a fucking song, man. And it's really heavy lyrical theme. It's about his ex-fiance who died and what he found out about her after he died. And it's the follow-up to the song Show Them Your Power from the My Veneration album. That's what Mark told me anyway, lyrically.
Powerful song. That's another great one from the. Actually, you know what? You got yourself a winner, I think, from head to toe on this album.
Yeah.
You brought back Daryl McDaniel from Run
Yeah.
DMC. It's obviously
Yeah.
the DMC part where you think you're going. Another great track from him. I know he's a secret rock guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not much of a secret. You see every shirt he wears, AC/DC. You know, he loves rock and metal.
You told me last year that you were going to be appearing on his solo album. Did that come out yet?
Yeah, so there's a song. It's I wish he would have called it DMC. It would have got a lot more play. It ended up being called Terrific, TE_RIFFIC. Terrific Game Changer is a song where he literally mentions me, and it's going to be in a horror movie that's coming out in a few months. It's actually the first song in the movie. And then we also wrote another song together that I wish he called DMC, but it's called The Symptom, and the song is called The Symptom. So, and I'm actually going into the studio Monday night. I wrote another piece of music that he's flipping out for that he wants to put, stuff to. So yeah, we've been writing together a lot. Daryl's solo album was delayed until next year. But he is on the song Where You Think You're Going, which is the song I wrote with my buddy David Freeze, who's a basketball player friend of mine. He sings professionally. He sings opera all around the world. He was never in the studio before. And there's a teenage girl, 18-year-old girl from my town called Sarah, and she had never been in the recording studio. My wife and I saw her singing at a farmer's market. So I was working on this song, George, and Gina, my wife, and Johnny Kelly are like, I don't know what you're doing here. Like, I don't get it. I'm like, I hear opera singing. I hear this. I hear Johnny. You can't play a drum beat to this song. No drum beat. It can't be a steady beat. And my wife is like, I'm not getting this, So we going along. I have Dave come into the studio. He's never been in the studio of his life. I show him what I want. Actually, I showed him what I wanted beforehand. I made a little bad recording of me singing opera, and he does it in one take. Then the girl, Sarah, comes in. She's probably 17 at the time. She's never been in the studio, but she's just got accepted to Berkeley. Nails it in one take. So now I'm putting everything together, and my wife and Johnny are like, okay, now I get it now. I get it. It's weird. It's different. But Johnny's like, I think you need some more vocals over it. I'm like, I think it's finished, man. I don't think it needs anything else. No, he's like, it needs some kind of lyrics. So I sent it to DMC, and he just flipped out for it. And a couple, maybe less than a week or two later, man, he went into the studio and he did what he does best, And it's so now it's like, yeah, I'm glad you dig it because I know that's that's the song that's going to freak people out, or they're going to be like, this is genius, because it's so different. You got violin, you got flute, you got a female vocal, you got an opera singer, you got DMC, and then you got knuckleheads, me and Johnny Kelly, so it's a lot of things going on.
Had you or have you considered like making Patriarchs in Black a kind of full band and using Mark Sunshine as the lead vocalist going forward?
Well, I will say no and yes. People have asked me all different singers, why don't you just, but to me, the beauty of it is having all the different singers. So right now, I can't even imagine doing a record with just one singer. To me, it would be, I don't want to say boring, but like if you looked at my Spotify playlist, George, it makes no sense. It goes from Slayer to A$AP Rocky to Neil Young to J. Cole to Ice Cube to who Alice in Chains, AC/DC. It's all over the map. And for whatever reason, I am now like Vessel of Light was my life before this. Vessel of Light was my favorite thing I've ever been involved in. And now to me, as much as I love Vessel of Light, Patriarchs in Black is just where I want to end my career. Like just to have a different singer on every song. It's really fun for me.
You mentioned that you recorded more songs than what's on the album. Are there any plans to do anything with the leftovers?
Yeah, so we're gonna release the vinyl. We put out a CD of cover songs called Covered in Black a few months ago, as you mentioned earlier, and it's gonna come out on vinyl at some point after we promote this new album Home enough. And I think we're gonna stick at least one of the original songs on the cover album when that comes out on the vinyl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it going to be Covered in Black too?
Well, it'll be Covered in Black. It'll be
Special edition.
Yeah, because there's only the CD was only 5 or 6 songs. So now we have literally about 14 cover songs we can choose from. We're just mixing right now. We're doing we did Strange Ways with Rob Dukes from Exodus singing, and my old bass player from Hades, Jimmy Shulman, on bass. That's being mixed right now, and that would be a possibility. But we have a lot of cover songs we've recorded.
What are the chances of some form of Patriarchs in Black performing live?
It's been talked about. We would love it, but the realities of it are I wouldn't want to do it with less than 4 singers. Johnny Kelly's always playing every weekend with Quiet Riot. It's really difficult. It would be really expensive. So the only thing, the way I see that happen is if there was a European festival or a festival, even if it was in Austin, Texas or whatever, where, everybody could fly down, get a hotel, it wouldn't be cheap, but it's, something we fantasize about.
I noticed that at Christmas Day, you hosted a Sirius XM show, Ozzy's Boneyard. You got to play your favorite songs and talk a little bit about them. How did the opportunity come about for you?
Well, Sirius XM has commercials on Ozzy's Boneyard. If you want to be the next ultimate sinner, send in your 5 songs playlist. But I make it easy for them. I record everything, real, I don't want to say real professional, but I go to the studio to do it. I have my buddy do the edits, and I've done it multiple times now. So hopefully they'll have me back again in the next month or 2 before the new record comes out.
Were there any restrictions on the songs you could play?
You can't play like your friend's underground, band that never released an album. It's got to be songs that they have played in their history,
Right.
Yeah. You should do one, George. You got to do one.
Yeah. I don't have a subscription to satellite radio.
Okay.
I'd never be able to hear it.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned one of your former bands, Hades, and I noticed that No Life Till Metal Records reissued a live album that you guys did live on location. It was April 1999 show. It's been remastered with updated artwork, and from what I understand, this show was like the big send-off for Hades. What do you remember about the show?
I think it was April of 1990, probably, right?
Yeah, that might be a typo.
Yeah, because we actually got back together in 1999 and we did 3 records for Metal Blade. So Hades was the band that will never die, but it's finally dead. But I remember we wanted to record the album live and we rehearsed. We had only one rehearsal and then we went to play the club, but the truck wasn't movable. So we had to actually, the show is actually a rehearsal. The audience is from the show. And it really is a live album in as far as there's no overdubs or anything. We really did play it like that. And the guys in the band, we kind of like live on location way better than the first 2 albums because it's just we always thought we sounded better live. We didn't feel like Hades, the first 2 albums, as much as people loved them, we never felt like the sound quality was right where we wanted it to be, you know. But yeah, I'm so happy it was re-released. And they also released an album called Hades, The Lost Fox Studio Sessions, which I wouldn't run and buy unless you're a really big Hades fan because they're just demo versions of those songs from the first couple albums. But live on location, pretty much everybody in Hades, we thought we did a really good job in that album.
So, what was the story with the original album artwork that you felt it needed to be changed?
Um, I think none of us ever loved the original artwork. And when the label said that, they wanted to do something different, we're like, yeah, go for it,
Do you have any more material from Hades in the vault that you're looking to release in the
Yeah.
future?
No, man, everything's pretty much come out. Uh, Damnation came out on vinyl in Europe, and Save Yourself and The Downside both came out on vinyl in Europe, and they were never on vinyl before. And there's a song called Think Tank that was the last song Hades ever did that is on one of the versions of the re-releases. I don't know which ones off the top of my head, but that was the last song Hades ever did. Think Tank was a new riff I wrote, new back then when we did it, and an old riff that Jimmy Shulman had written in 1989. And that will be the last ever Hades song that, comes out.
Now, you mentioned you weren't happy with the original production of your albums, and you mentioned that it was re-released on vinyl in Europe. Did you have a chance to kind of
Oh,
remaster
yeah.
it so it
Oh,
sounded
yeah,
better?
yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
remastered. It definitely sounds better than the original for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, are you working on any other projects or with any other musicians outside of Patriarchs in Black?
No, just DMC. Like I said, he and I have a few songs together. Terrific. Game Changer is one video and one song. And The Symptom is another song that we did. It's called The Symptom, The Symptom. It's very confusing, but I think I'm going to have to release the next thing I do with DMC under my name just because he doesn't want to put anything out under his name until it's the full album. But like I said, I'm going in the studio Tuesday night to record something for him. So just a bunch of different things with DMC.
Do you think you'll get over your writer's block to put out another Patriarchs in Black album in 12 months?
Yeah, because you know what? If when people like the reviews have been so good, um, that inspires me. I think I'm writing so much because I'm inspired, because Johnny Kelly's easy to work with, because Opposition, when I was retired from music for 10 years, was so great to work with, and the fun of working with all these different singers in Patriarchs in Black. So yeah, it's just weird because I was going through a streak where every time I picked up a guitar, I would write something that I thought was good and worth recording. And now I picked up the guitar a few times and I'm not really finding anything, but I would have to think that yes, particularly I really write most of my music in the winter because in the summer I play basketball and you get your fingers smashed in and you're just too damn tired to play guitar. So I would imagine that because the record label in the world has told me to slow down, I'll probably start going more into serious writing mode around, November or December of this year.
Well, if the record label and the industry are telling you to slow down, that doesn't prevent you from putting stuff out on your own.
No, but it makes you're right. Yeah, you're right. And maybe I would do one song on my own, but yeah, it's a bummer, man. Because like I said, Kiss used to put out a record every 6 months, and that's just the way it was. And I mean, I'm reading like these rock books of other bands that like, oh, we were really doing well, so the record label told us to hurry up and get back in the studio. So, but it's a different world now.
Yeah, there's like a billion bands now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, Dan, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Patriarchs in Black album is home. It comes out on August 15th through Metalville Records. I think it's a home run for you. I wish you the best of luck with it, and I want to thank you for taking the time to tell me more about it today.
Thanks so much, George.
Once again, I want to thank Dan Lorenzo of Patriarchs in Black for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Be sure to check out their latest album, Home, which is set for release on August 15th through Metalville Records. Head over to your favorite streaming platform, take a listen to what's available. If you like what you hear, buy a physical copy, support the artist. For all things Dan Lorenzo and Patriarchs in Black, head over to his official webpage, danlorenzo.net. I also want to thank Nathan T. Burke and Metalville Records for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. Discover your next favorite artist on the Rock is George podcast.